If there was anything you'd take away from episode 27 of Frieren, it's unequivocally the stacking, the building of momentum to set you up for one big revelation, and use that revelation as another setup for setting up another revelation, and use that new unfounded knowledge for the one and only. Bro, did you really get rizzed by some flowers? You know what? I actually kind of get it. Guys, sometimes when you read the manga, it goes by so fast that you don't even comprehend in the moment how epic some of these moments are. I was just really anticipating one really big moment that will happen in episode 28 because I really like Lerner's character and what his character truly means. Oh yeah, there's spoilers for So no Frieren. For the first half of episode 27, it was your classic Frieren slice of life, which is probably like at least half of the show. Take that as a negative or a positive, however you want. At this point, we know what to expect with all three of our main characters' personalities, their faults, and what they tend to do as characters. Stark is the punching bag shonen, Fern is more like Mother Fern, and Frieren is, I guess. When you think of Frieren, you don't think of parody, but the story does show some parody moments, like with the old Sifu ass character and the use of Loffin's character. The first half of the episode really just shows Frieren's flaws as half not understanding, but the other half really is considerate even if she doesn't fully understand. That coincides with Richter's character. He's a straight dick that would likely do what is necessary to gain status and power, like kill some kids. But at the same time, Dinkin ends up being what Richter's life can be once he understands that his inconsiderate ways isn't such a rewarding way of living your life. At the end of the day, when Frieren goes into Richter's shop, he ends up helping out Frieren by fixing Fern's broken staff. Fern's feelings are mended as she finds out her staff is fully restored with the running gag of sloppy sleeping Frieren. For the good stuff of the episode, the third exam starts and Sari takes it upon herself to be the true gatekeeper she is, personally accept and deny remaining test takers. Remember, she is a person that values talent and wants to keep magic as something special among other special people. She wants to keep magic as a cool people's club, like some weird fraternity that likes smacking you in the butt with a paddle and make you kiss some feet. For real though, Frieren might be one of the least lewd animes out there, but there's always that one horny animator that subtly slides in something unnecessary. I mean, in the manga she does have her legs crossed, but out of all the things that they could animate, they chose feet. So the feet goddess Sari starts to talk about how Frieren really skewed the amount of test takers that passed the second exam when they shouldn't have. It leads to a conversation with Lerner, the same guy that recognized what that Frieren pendant was, what was so special about it that even Himo and the others didn't know what it was, who tells Sari that he essentially isn't powerful enough to test Frieren anyway, so it makes sense that Sari would lead the third exam. He says one particular thing that sparks the conversation that we already are all aware of as an audience. Lerner mentions that Frieren's mana is almost on par with Sari's. This whole conversation feels all repetitive because we already know this stuff. She even asked Megane about the use of Frieren hiding her mana. Like with most characters, they feel that hiding your mana is pointless and that it requires a ton of time, like decades time, maybe even centuries to do that particular skill for the average person. This entire conversation about Frieren hiding her mana and using it to trick demons feels boring and repetitive, but it's really just a setup. Fern's whole climactic ending with the macro outlook on society from Sari's standpoint is that humans will surpass elves one day. Humans are creatures that live super short lifespans, so quick decisions and innovation must come super fast compared to elves that seemingly are almost immortal. This gives elves a false sense of putting things off, which is what the contrast that Sari mentions in that flashback. That's why it is a recurring theme, a motif, that Frieren is lazy and spends way too much time on things like at the beginning of this series where Fern gets frustrated that Frieren takes forever doing her random side quests. Like, dude, I'm legitimately gonna die before you, like way before you. And this is why we need that villain Fern arc. So how is this whole thing a setup? Fern can't be the only human with tons of potential. Lerner was like a Fern was 50 years ago. Sari even plays into the disappointment that the dude is old as hell and could have been just as strong as Frieren, but we'll never know. And that will set up for episode 28, the feet goddess. Sari continues just being a total dick as she is disappointed not being able to see Lerner reach his full potential. But leading into the scene's biggest revelation, Sari herself has been hiding her mana, just like Flamme was, just like Frieren is. That is a huge deal because when Frieren takes down Sari's barrier in the first exam, we are all led to believe that maybe Frieren might be stronger than Sari. Now we're like, god damn, she's probably super OP. But then again, she never decided to take down the Demon King herself, so Sari can't be that massively strong. So Sari hiding her mana is actually a really big deal that even one of her strongest students, learning who she teases that might be on par with Frieren, doesn't even recognize that she is hiding her mana, and that becomes the perfect setup for the episode's end. Of course, she brings in a bunch of scrubs to deny them. One thing the story did to make Sari not just some douche gatekeeper, but outright say that Sari's intuition is absolute. If the feet goddess says use a bum, use a bum. So Fern in Frieren-sama says that you ain't a bum. One of the things I guess I really didn't like is Frieren misleading us by saying that Sari will indeed fail the both of them. There could have been a better setup here rather than her just saying, you know, just really completely lying as a misdirection. Before Fern enters to get denied or approved by Sari, Frieren goes before her to continue setting up this moment. We get the flowers throwback, the heroes party throwback. Like it takes a team to defeat a boss Sari. Don't step on pride cause I don't got any. And then we get the awesome story where Himo gets rizzed by Frieren's flowers. I'm sure it was the flowers Himo, and not the cute elf that's unintentionally rizzing you. Not only are flowers a symbol, it is the origin of how Frieren and Himo met for the first time. It was the flower spell that was also Flamme's favorite spell that inspired Himo to later stalk Frieren. Just kidding, but kinda not actually. Once again, that magic represents that peace and love and harmony, while Sari's way of thinking of magic gets tyrannical. So Himo stalked Frieren down to make her join the heroes party to defeat the Demon King, and he was never unfortunately able to get it in. Did he really die single and lonely and bored? Even though Fern technically didn't defeat the replica Frieren with her spam attack, that kinda took the luster off her climactic moment as the representative of humanity taking over the world and being the one to kill Frieren. Alright, let me tone it down real quick. She is the representative of humanity's progress. Well, Frieren tells Sari one last thing, and that most importantly, Fern is just too much of a cold-blooded purple-haired killer for Sari to pass up. And that leads to Fern entering for her test. Fern does her usual WTF I don't care look on her face. Sari isn't too sure what makes her so special since she is just looking at her with some kind of blank look. This is when one of the most epic moments took place, and it didn't require anyone to lift a finger. Yo, you spazzing. It was in this moment Sari wanted to put socks on and walk in sandals. As she was superiorly elated, she felt as this purple-haired girl is confirmed to be greatness. Sari, of course, wants to make Fern her next learning, but who wants to be a student of a dick? This sparks that flashback with Frieren, just confirming with her that Sari won't actually fail her. With authority, Fern fervently tells Sari that she is Frieren's student. Sari was only bluffing that the offer for Fern to be her student was contingent on her passing or failing. When you're that great, like the purple-haired Fern, no one can pass Mother Fern up. This episode really opened my eyes to all the creative ways that storytelling can help build moments. The stacking of moments from big reveals or revelations is something that's gonna stick with me forever because of this episode. Many other animes and stories set you up in a similar way, but this really did feel like a multifaceted layers, like an onion. It almost felt like a true cheat code in storytelling. This episode connected 4 characters from Frieren to Learning to Sari, and in it with the climactic moment with Fern. In between these characters, the setups within the story essentially served as a way to determine potential. And the anime trope of power levels was just fantastic. So let me know what you guys think about this episode and everything up to this point. Even though I already knew what was going to happen, how an anime can bring together everything with the storyboarding, with how they can use the music in building up moments. It's always a different feel. That's why we watch the anime, right? Even though a lot of people read the manga, light novels, webtoons, or whatever, the animation always can hit different in a very good way, better than the manga. But of course, sometimes adaptations can suck, but this isn't one of them. And still, I couldn't help myself but laugh my ass off at the young Himmel being raised by young Frieren. But as with most little boys, I feel like we all had a moment where there was an older girl that rizzed us. So I think if we're really being real, we understand how that young Himmel felt. And it wasn't because of the flowers, but it helps. So yeah guys, let me know what you guys thought about this episode and everything that's happened up to this point. Do me a favor guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Check out my blog at otakusin.com, and I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.